Welcome back to the next episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Generation X tournament here on the Homeboys channel. We are finally at the final duel of round 1 of this tournament before we throw all the winning names into a randomizer again and see what's what. But here we have Dark Zane going up against Camula, and this was initially, if you saw the first video, this was supposed to be much higher up on the list, but like a couple of the decks in the tournament, Zane actually got a lot of support, and some of it was even for the Cyber Dark support. So really, every single time, like every couple days or whatever, I'd say, okay, it looks like the news stopped, let me record this duel. I record all of it, and then hey, new support came out, and I really just decided, okay, I'm tired of doing this, so I moved this all the way to the end. And yeah, basically that's what I've been up to with my life. But here Zane actually has two parts of his deck. He has the Cyber Dragons and the Cyber Darks. So the Cyber Dragons revolve around Cyber Dragon itself. It can special summon itself if your opponent has a monster and you do not, and this is a very fusion heavy side of the deck. So all the other Cyber Dragons copy his name whenever they're on the field or in the graveyard. Some of them search, some of them get stronger, etc, etc, but that's the whole gimmick, is hey, fusion summon. And Cyber Dragon Dry changes all your Cyber Dragons to level 5 if you so wish, so that you can also do Xyz summons. So that's really cool. The other side of the deck though, and the side that I think is more prominent in Dark Zane's deck, is the Cyber Darks, which it's just these three here: Horn, Edge, and Keel. They all have their own individual effects, but they can absorb a level 4 or lower dragon monster from either player's graveyard as soon as they're normal summoned, and they get all of its attack points. When Keel kills a monster, your opponent takes 300, Horn can do piercing damage, and Edge can attack directly for half of its attack points. You not only have one copy of Polymerization, which is searchable by Fusion Sage, but since the anime Power Bond also is considered Polymerization, you have a way to search it to double the attack of whatever fusion you're bringing out. You have a good number of, you have a good amount of draw and searchability in this deck as well, which you really need, because not only is this a 50 card deck, but you know, it can be really bricky here with 17 spells and 12 traps. So you know, Cyber Dark Impact can actually fuse the three main Cyber Dark monsters for the Cyber Dark Dragon, who can absorb any dragon monster regardless of level from either player's graveyards. Cyber Network here can banish light machines from your deck, and then in 3 turns it destroys your whole back row and then summons out all those machines, but you can't attack or use their abilities that turn. 2 other really good spell cards I want to talk about here are Overload Fusion, which can fusion summon basically any machine from your extra deck by banishing monsters from your graveyard, and Eternal Cyber, which can summon back any Cyber Fusion monster, ignoring its summoning conditions, and then you can banish the Eternal Cyber, and this is a quick play by the way, you can also banish the Eternal Cyber from your graveyard whenever one of your Cyber Fusion monsters was going to be destroyed, and you keep it safe that one instance only. For the side deck, you actually very incredibly boost the Cyber Dark strategy. The 2 monsters I'm really going to go over here are Cyber Dark Cannon, which discards itself, and it's a dragon, discards itself to search for a Cyber Dark monster, and while it's equipped, if it gets destroyed, you know, you draw a card. When the monster equipped with it fights, you throw away any monster in your deck. And you have the Cyber Dark Claw. So while it's equipped, when the opponent, while your monster attacks, you can throw away any monster from your extra deck. You can throw it away from your hand in order to add a Cyber Dark spell or trap, and it's not just the fusion anymore because they got a lot more cards since then. You have Cybernetic Horizon, which counts as both a Cyber card and a Cyber Dark card. You get to throw away 2 dragons and or machines with different attributes from your hand and from your deck in order to get a cyber monster from your deck to your hand, and then you throw away something from your extra deck as well. So this really sets up Zane very well. Cyber Dark World here actually will search for Cyber Dark monsters that aren't already in your graveyard, and then you can immediately normal summon any Cyber Dark from your hand. Cyberdark Inferno provides protection to any Cyberdark monster, regular monster, or fusion that has a card equipped onto it. You can target a Cyberdark, send it back to your hand, and then normal summon a Cyberdark again on top of your regular normal summon. Lastly, you have Cyberdark Invasion. You pick a Cyberdark effect monster and you equip it with any dragon or machine from either player's graveyard, and it'll automatically get 1,000 attack points. Or you can get rid of an equipped card that's on a machine monster in order to destroy one card on your opponent's field. I know that was a lot to really go over, but Zane's deck does a lot of things. Now taking a look at his opponent. So Camula here runs a vampire deck, and basically there's a lot of reviving from the graveyard. There's also a lot of tributes, and there's the quote-unquote blood-sucking ability of being able to get rid of cards from your opponent's deck. Not really controlled by you, but it is what it is. You have stuff with floating effects like Vampire Bat and Vampire Familiar that can really stick around later with additional copies or by summoning themselves from the graveyard. You have Vampire Sorcerer, who's personally my favorite level 4 in this entire lineup, because when it gets destroyed by your opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect, you get any dark vampire monster or a vampire spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And all of these different vampires do a lot of different things. I'm going to try to go over some of the best ones just because, you know, I spent a lot of time on the Zane one already. So Shadow Vampire here, when it gets normal summoned, you can bring out another dark vampire from your hand or your deck, but monsters you control can't attack except for that one. You have the classic Vampire Lord. If it dies by a card effect, it comes back during the next standby phase. When it does battle, choose monster, spell, or trap, and your opponent loses one of those from their deck. Vampire Grace is a nice 2,000 attack monster that can actually just go ahead and mill a card from your opponent's deck by declaring it. You don't have to do damage or anything like that. And then the evolution to the Vampire Lord, you can special summon the Vampire Genesis. You can actually discard a zombie monster to the graveyard to pick another zombie with a lower level and summon it back from your grave, and it has 3,000 attack points. You also have the Overpowering Eye here, which can only be used when you have a vampire on your field, but all of your monsters are able to attack your opponent directly. Book of Life is a very deadly spell card in every zombie deck. By banishing an opponent's monster from their graveyard, you can special summon a monster from your own. Then you have the field spell Infernalvania, which is something that's Camula used in the anime. You can discard a zombie monster to destroy every single monster that's on the field, but when you use this effect, you're not allowed to summon or set any cards whatsoever. And of course, you have 2 copies of Terraforming to get to that easier. Now, Illusion Gate here destroys every monster on your opponent's field, summons a monster from their graveyard to your field, ignoring summoning conditions. But once per turn, during every end phase, you lose 90% of your life points. It's such a ridiculous card. I love it. Counter Trap Vampire Domination, which can negate spells, traps, and monster effects while you have vampires. Destroy it, and then if you destroy a monster, you gain life points equal to its attack. For the extra deck here, we have the Link 2 Vampire Sucker. So any 2 zombies can make this monster. You can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and summon it to your field in defense, but then it becomes a zombie. And if another zombie monster is special summoned from either player's graveyard, you get to draw a card. Combining 2 level 5 monsters gets you the Crimson Knight Vampire Bram with 2,500, and Bram here can actually bring out monsters from your opponent's graveyard onto your side of the field, but only it can attack for that turn. Or, when you have a monster that was summoned from your opponent's field, you can treat it as a level 6 and combine it with either the Vampire Red Baron or the Ryokoki in order to make the Dhampir Vampire Sheridan. His effect allows you to take monster cards that get sent to your opponent's graveyard and summon them out on your side of the field. He has 2,600 attack as well. As for the side deck, you do have a Vampire Kingdom, which gives your zombies 500 attack whenever they're battling, and whenever a card goes from your opponent's deck to the graveyard, you get to destroy another card on the field on top of that. Lastly, I'd like to actually point out the Vampire Vamp. a massive level 7 with only 2,000. But once per turn, when either the vampire vamp or another vampire is normal summoned, you can absorb whatever monster on your opponent's side of the field has attack points higher than the vampire, and she will gain all of their attack points as well. Then whenever she gets sent to the graveyard, when she has cards equipped to it, she can summon herself back from the grave. So that is what Camula's deck does. A lot of milling, a good amount of life point recovery, negation, destruction, stealing monsters, all the works. Let's see how this duel goes. Let the duel begin. Round 1 between Camula and Zane Truesdale here. Camula is actually just going to T-set and end, which is not how I would expect her to open up. Zane's going to swing with a Cyber Phoenix 1200, and it can protect your machine monsters from your opponent's targeting effects. He isn't able to kill the 1200 defense vampire bat, and she gets out the zombie werewolf. So whenever it destroys the monster and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon another zombie werewolf and give it an extra 500. So here we go. And Vampire Bat, by the way, gives all your zombies an extra 200. When Werewolf gets destroyed by battle and he goes to the graveyard, you can summon a new one from your deck and give it 500 points. Vampire Bat is now going to attack directly for a clean 1,000, and Camula takes an early lead here. Zane's going to summon out the Infernal Dragon, but you know, during the end phase of the turn that it attacks, it destroys itself. So you really don't want to use that here. And unfortunately for him, she is able to tribute the 2,400 Vampire Red Baron and use a Book of Life to get rid of Phoenix to bring back Bat. Red Baron is going to take 1,000 points off of Camula's counter in order to switch control of a vampire with one of Zane's monsters. So big damage over here. You're going to swing with the Infernal Dragon, then swing with the rest of her monsters, 2,200, and then before, oh my god, before the Infernal Dragon destroys itself, since it was stolen from Zane, it could be treated as a level 6 for the Dampier Vampire Sheridan. So that was an amazing, unexpected play, and Zane here is going to have to rely on Cyber Dragon Core, searching the Cybernetic Revolution so he can get out a free fusion card by sacrificing this monster in a little bit. Here comes the Vampire Baby, because why not? It's going to swing over, or attempt to, before it turns into the 4,000 attack Cyber End Dragon, but it will die at the end of Zane's turn, and oh, look at that. He was able to actually destroy the Cyber End Dragon, which that's really, really unfortunate. So that happened, and then Camula used the other monsters for Vampire Sucker. So there you go, 1,600. Whenever cards come back from the grave, then vampires, excuse me, then she'll be able to draw cards. Banishing Cyber Dragon Core while your opponent has a monster and you don't lets you summon Cyber Dragon straight out of your deck. Then we're going to see another core, and no search this time, but they will use Card of Sanctity to draw just a couple more cards. But also, you're giving Camula 4 brand new cards. Luckily, Zane does have a Pot of Greed to get 2 more. Sets a trap card. He doesn't have enough to really work with and to extend the play. Red Ghost Moon, it shouldn't. Oh, okay, so Zane did go into the battle phase. I guess he was trying to swing over the link. But no, Red Ghost Moon is going to give her life points instead and end the whole battle phase. So you know what, there you go. Camula to boot gets her own Pot of Greed. We're going to see Cyber Network activate to try to set up banishing monsters, and it'll get back banished monsters for him if he can survive long enough. Terraforming, though, is going to get Infernal Vania, which can, you know, Dark Hole. Not that they're going to do it now, they're going to attack instead, but unknowingly, Zane had his cybernetic hitting technology to blow up the 2,400 Xyz monster. So that was a great comeback, and that's why he summoned the core and didn't search anything. That was actually really, really cool. But Infernal Vania is here now, so before it blows up everything, because it's going to do it anyways, it's going to use cybernetic hitting technologies to blow up the Cyber Dragon and blow up the Link monster as well. I guess he was doing that more so to free up back row space, because really Infernal Vania would have done that anyways, right? But It must have been just to free up back row space. Here's a vampire sorcerer, so Camula gets a search if it dies, and she sets 3 cards in her back row. Here we see the Cyber Dragon Keel. It's gonna absorb a 2000 attack monster, but nope. Vampire Domination, the one copy that she has of it in her deck, is here, and she's gonna gain 800 instead and kill Zane's only monster. But since he has a second core, here comes the Cyber Dragon Zwei, and Zwei can go up to 1800 whenever Zane is attacking you. So it's gonna be able to do that, and really not too much more. She's gonna be able to search a Vampire Genesis, I guess, just because she didn't want. Okay. So Vampire Awakening is going to summon Vampire Lord, and yes, Awakening kills the zombie that you pick to summon, but Vampire Lord can come back from the graveyard on the next standby phase if it died by a card effect. So we're gonna, or I guess not, right? Is it destroyed instead by an opponent's card effect? Okay, so Camula probably goofed there, but luckily she had another Vampire Awakening, so you know what, it doesn't matter. She gets one of her 2 Vampire Genesis. Book of Life. It did matter. So Book of Life is going to banish Cyber Dragon to allow her to get a second Vampire Genesis. Swing for 15 and then swing. I thought she was going to swing for game, but Zane had the Cybernetic Overflow, banishing Cyber Dragon's Vi from the graveyard. And is that it? Yeah, it looks like just Vi, so that he can destroy 1 card on the field, and it's going to be that 1 Genesis. Did he have other? No, he didn't have any other Cyber Dragons, because it has to be, yeah, Cyber Dragons with different levels. So, luckily for Zane, he's still in this duel. This only has 1 counter on it, though, and it doesn't summon back monsters until the second turn. He's gonna get a Exploder Dragon, which is really good. You don't take damage when it fights, and it destroys the monster that destroys it in battle, so both of the Genesis are cleared. He needs to survive this, but Camula top-decked a 1500 attack monster. Zane has 700 life points left, but here comes the Eternal Cyber to bring back from the graveyard the Cyber. Camula wins round 1. So after going back and looking through the duel, I realized that he wasn't able to bring back the Cyber End Dragon because it was never properly fusion summoned, and that's another one of the rules that you need to know in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is you can't bring back extra deck monsters if they weren't properly summoned first. So fortunately he wasn't able to save himself, but excellent duel. On that note, round 2, Camula's going to be going first once again because Cyber Dragons really want to go second against you. She T-sets once again, and we saw how well that went for her last time. Cyber Dark Cannon's going to discard itself to search for a Cyber Dark, so now he has all 3, and he has the Cyber Dark Inferno here. So this Cyber Horn is going to have some protection, plus Horn does piercing damage, and it now has 2400, but here is the Red Ghost Moon again, so Camula is at 10,400 life points. Before anything else, though, he's going to use the field spell Inferno to replace Horn with a Keel instead. I guess he really wants to save Horn for the piercing damage. We're going to see. Overpowering Eye is here, though, so vampires can now officially attack directly. Vampire Retainer is going to hit the board with 1200, and they're going to swing for a combined total of 17 before passing it over. Zane is actually going to summon a Cyber Dragon Core to get a search off, so he searches for a trap, sets 2, and uses Cyber Dark World. So he has nothing in his graveyard right now, so he can search a Cyber Dark, any Cyber Dark that he wants, really. He's going to go for the Cyber Dark Claw, which is going to discard itself to search for another spell card. And Cybernetic Horizon is going to activate here, so he got rid of a Cyber Dragon Dry and a Cyber Dark Edge from his hand, and now he's going to be able to get rid of, so he got a new Cyber Dark Horn from his deck, and now he got rid of a Cyber End Dragon, so it could be absorbed later on in the duel. Inferno's going to activate, letting Keel go back to the hand in order to summon out Keel again, but this time it's going to equip Claw instead of Cannon, because Claw can get rid of more fusion monsters. He's going to go ahead and crash into the bat with Core, that way he takes the least amount of damage possible. Otherwise, who knows if she's going to summon a 2000 something attack and swing with that instead, you know. So It's going to attack, and Cyber Dark Claw is actually going to get rid of 5-headed dragon from the fusion deck, and Keel will do 300 effect damage, bringing Camula back down almost to the start. Familiar is going to activate, sacrificing the other zombie for itself. Then he's going to pay life points to search for a new zombie card. And now by discarding a card from the hand, Retainer is going to come back from the graveyard as well. And paying 500 life points after this gives him the field spell, or excuse me, gives her the field spell Vampire Kingdom. Now tributing the Vampire Familiar is going to bring out the Shadow Vampire, 2,000 attack points. It's going to use its ability to summon out Vampire Duke from the deck, but now Duke is the only monster who can attack. So in order to set itself up for the future, Camula is sacrificing 3,000 something damage this turn. But again, as long as Overpowering Eye is on the field, it's not going to matter. Next turn, they have guaranteed game. He's going to get rid of a spell card at Zane's choice from his deck, and also pay 2,000 to bring back Vampire Grace to further ensure that Zane has no other moves for the next turn. And you know, Vampire Kingdom here, since a card went from his deck to the graveyard, is going to destroy something on Zane's field. So he got rid of the Cyber Dark Claw, so that's unfortunate, but you know, it was protected from the Inferno. The Keel was protected, so there's that. But Claw is going to activate to get Cannon back from the graveyard. And now Camula is going to use 2 of those zombies for the Vampire Sucker. But Cybernetic Overflow is going to activate here, banishing 2 Cyber Dragons. So it hit Overpowering Eye, and they hit the Vampire Sucker. However, Camula had a second Overpowering Eye. So, you know, if I was Zane, I would have hit Shadow Oh, no. Actually, the other monster's gone. So I don't think Camula can attack this turn. It doesn't, I don't believe so. But anyways, you know, Zane lost because of Grace, a Cyber Repair Plans, but his deck is much shorter now, and at the end of the turn he's going to use Cyber Dark Invasion as well. He's just going to flip that over for whenever he needs to use it. Cyber Dark Cannon is going to search for a second horn. Claw is going to search for Cyber Dark Impact, which is going to activate here, bringing out the Cyber Dark Dragon, and it will have 1900 since there's 9 cards in Zane's graveyard, but it's going to absorb 1 first, so it's going to be at 1800 to start. And it's also 19 because of the spell card too. I didn't even realize that. And Cyber Dark Invasion is actually gonna give it the Cyber End Dragon as well. So it's gonna have 2900 because of Invasion's effect, and it's gonna absorb a 5-headed dragon that was tossed out from earlier, giving it 7,800 attack points. Horn's gonna hit the field, go up to 24 with Piercing to get rid of the Grace. Oh, I don't think that works that way, because Kingdom should give it 500, shouldn't it? Or, okay, so that was just to use Claw's effect to get rid of another fusion. Claw will get back a cannon as well, so we get some more search, but 5,300. Camula loses this round. Round 3, and this has been very intense previous 2 rounds, and Zane's actually gonna go first. Camula, you know, loser gets to choose, and Camula lost, so that duelist decided that Zane was gonna go first with a Cyber Dragon deck, but unfortunately it's not just a Cyber Dragon deck. So Cannon's gonna go hit the graveyard really quick in order to search for a brand new Cyber Dark, but first we're gonna see Cyber Dark World hit the field as well. So now they have 2 of the 3 pieces. Claw's gonna grab the Cybernetic Horizon, so a bunch of stuff is gonna go to the graveyard, but mainly the Cyber End Dragon. And Keel is gonna hit the field, absorb Claw for 2400. Now with a Cyber Dragon monster in the graveyard, you know, Cyber Repair Plan can actually add the Cyber Dragon Dry from the deck to the hand here before passing it over. So lots of searching, lots of deck thinning has taken place. And now it's Camula's turn. Terraforming gets the Vampire Kingdom right away before placing 2 cards face down and summoning the Vampire Sorcerer, hoping that it gets destroyed. So there's that, but Zane gets the Future Fusion now. So he can fuse from his deck, and nope, Vampire Domination is actually going to negate that. Otherwise, that could have been game right here and there.
The Cyber Dark Invasion has been added from the deck to the hand, and on the attack declaration from Cyber Dark Keel onto the Vampire Sorcerer, Zane is going to get rid of his 5-god dragon, setting up for a fusion absorption later on in the duel. He manages to do 700, but Camula does get a search, so she gets a vampire. I believe she got something that can float so that she can provide herself with a little bit more defense. She ends up not getting too much that she can really work with, so she's going to be really sitting here on this bat, and it won't be able to do too much, but you know, she'll be able to slightly thin her deck when it's going to be destroyed. Zane does crack into a Pot of Greed, which leads him into a field spell, so now he can go and really, he's just kind of toying around at this point, building up his graveyard even further. There was absolutely no real necessary reason to do this unless he's setting up to use the Cyberdark Impact, which I believe he is, since he discarded Cyberdark Edge from his deck. So he's going to swing into the bat. Bat's going to get rid of a vampire for him, and since he did lose a card from his deck by the effect of his own cannon, Kingdom activates actually. So Kingdom, Camula went ahead and discarded the Vampire Grace in order to destroy a card on Zane's side of the field. However, you know, with the effect of Cyberdark Inferno, she's not allowed to target the actual keel when it's equipped with something, so there goes Cannon instead. But since Cannon was destroyed, Zane was able to draw, and now here they are, you know, after he took the 400 points of damage, main phase 2, he's able to fusion summon for the Cyberdark Dragon with a grand total of 7,000, but the Cyberdark Invasion is going to allow it to equip with a Cyber End Dragon for 8,000 attack total. But when you have the Cyber End Dragon and the Cyber Dark Dragon on the field at the same time, you can actually create the 5,000 attack Cyber Dark End Dragon. Personally speaking, I don't even know how this thing works because this is a very, very new card, and I haven't had time to sit down and personally test all this new support myself. But it looks like you can tribute a level 10 or lower Cyberdark equipped with Cyber End. Okay, so that's what they did. Unaffected by your opponent's activated card effects. So not everything, but it won't be destroyed by Vampire Kingdom if that pops off. Once per turn, you can equip a monster from either graveyard to this card, and while it's equipped with anything, it can attack that number of times. Okay. So it has 5,000, it's unaffected, and it can attack multiple times, and the trap card can give it another equip as well. It looks like they were able to actually steal the Vampire Grace out of the graveyard, as well as Attachment Cyber's effect, allowing itself to equip onto the Cyberdark End. So now you have 5,600 that can attack 2 times, and it has a little bit of added protection as well, I believe. That is really, really dangerous stuff. If it gets another significantly big monster onto the field, then Camula for sure would get OTK'd. They're going to use the ability of the Cyberdark Invasion here, getting rid of an equipped card in order to destroy any card on the opponent's field. So they went ahead and got rid of the Attachment Cyber and dropping that 600 to pop the face down. Getting rid of Attachment Cyber and apparently activates his ability, so you're going to go into the graveyard and grab a Cyber Dragon Core now. Now Zane is also going to flip over his Call of the Haunted to get back his Cyberdark Claw. I'm assuming he's going to use the field spell to add that to the hand. Here we see a Cyber Dragon Dry, and that's deadly because Cyber Dragon Dry will be able to use its ability to adjust the levels of Cyber Dragons, making both of them level 5s to go into the rank 5 Cyber Dragon Nova. I don't know if they're going to use its effect or not. Nope. They're going to just Xyz change into the Cyber Dragon Infinity. So now, not only can Zane attack multiple times with a 5k beater, but he has a 2100 attack threat that can absorb attack position monsters and that can negate a lot of different effects during either turn. Cyberdark World here is going to activate, so we're going to see the Cyberdark Edge hit the field, who can attack directly with his own effect, and it's actually just going to get absorbed. Oh my god. And now Cyberdark Invasion is going to activate, so we're going to see the 6,000 beater be able to swing twice. Claw goes into Bat. Bat uses its effect to stay alive, which I believe it can do one more time. Here comes Infinity to do it once again. And now, Cyberdark End attacking. Looks like Cannon's going to get rid of a core from the deck. Since that happened, though, Vampire Kingdom is going to attempt to destroy Infinity, but Infinity is going to be able to use its effect to say, no, you. And now the Kingdom has been completely annihilated. Camula's board has been utterly wiped. She has 2 monsters and a terraforming to work with, and 2 very, very powerful threats to try to deal with. So first she's going to use the ability of the Vampire Retainer to get rid of a zombie in her hand in order to revive itself in defense mode. Then she's going to pay 500 to get a new spell card. She's going to do a similar effect with the Vampire Familiar, reviving itself from the grave, paying 500 to get a new vampire monster. Now she's going to use the ability of her Sorcerer, banishing it from the graveyard, allowing her to summon her newly searched Vampire Vamp straight out of her hand without a single tribute. And since both the Infinity and the Cyberdark End Dragon are stronger than her, theoretically she would be able to pick one of them and absorb it. However, obviously Infinity is going to negate and destroy, but I would assume that was a bait, and it looks like it is, because now using the remaining 2 zombies on her field, Camula is going to go into the Vampire Sucker. However, Cyberdark Invasion is going to very rudely sacrifice the vampire that Zane stole in order to destroy this new vampire, leaving her with nothing but 3, I believe they're all bluffs, right? Yeah, all spell cards. So Infinity's just gonna stunt here. Zane's gonna really pop off a little bit more, and that isn't just game, but that, ladies and gentlemen, is an OTK. Zane has won the duel.